Tonight's episode is brought to you by Leap Spirits, paying homage to the iconic end zone celebration that was created by Green Bay legend Leroy Butler. Leap Vodka is inspired by the best attributes of the world's finest vodkas.
Listen, Wags, it's distilled from Midwest corn until impurities are removed, and their proprietary coconut filtering process provides vibrant fragrance and flavor. Leap Vodka has been recognized for excellence by industry experts from coast to coast. Their processes provide the smoothest, cleanest vodka possible.
To find Leap Vodka in a retail store or restaurant near you, visit leapspirits.com and click on Find Leap Vodka and see show notes for further details.
Every year I know we gonna go hard. We been that team ever since Bart started. All my cheese heads go pack go. Ain't showing no mercy, cutting no slack, no. I ain't a bad sport and I'll even wish you good luck. Only thing I will
Welcome to Lombardi's Legends podcast. It's Dane here with Wags, but Wags, you're not as important tonight, and neither am I, because we've got an incredibly special guest, Caliph Brice, linebacker for the Green Bay Packers. We are so excited to have you on. Welcome to Lombardi's Legends podcast, Caliph. How are you doing?
Good, doing good. Thank you for having me.
No, thanks for joining us. A lot to get into. We're going to talk about why we're so excited to have you as a member of the Packers. But first things first, we always ask our first-time guests, Caliph, how does it feel to be a Green Bay Packer?
Unreal. It's really unreal. I have no other words to describe the feeling. It's just unbelievable experience. And every day I walk in the facility and just soak it all in, because it's a blessing to be in the NFL as a whole, but it's more of a blessing to be a Green Bay Packer, because this organization is different and it stands out more than the other teams.
Caliph, thanks so much for coming on. Can you walk us through what that process was like? Is you came to Green Bay as an undrafted free agent. So, what was it about Green Bay, and what was that process like before you signed with Green Bay and making that happen?
The process, it was pretty slow at first. Being at home watching the draft. I mean, me personally, I try to be as realistic with myself as possible. I knew, it was the first through fourth rounder. Uh, I pretty much knew that I would be either undrafted or a late pick. I was talking to my agent throughout the draft, and he had a conversation with Green Bay, one of the coaches from Green Bay. I believe it was actually my coach. I think maybe, but in the fourth round, they apparently had a conversation with my agent, offering a deal or whatnot, and I was actually, it was crazy. I was running an errand that day for my grandmother. I was on a food run. I was on a food run on draft day with my grandmother, and I believe Coach KO called me, my position coach. He was like, we're gonna try to, get you in the seventh round, maybe, possibly, depending see how things go. I'm like, I'm excited. He was like, if not, we got a deal on the table for free agent deal. You sign with us, blase blase. So I'm like, wow, like I'm like, keep in mind I'm driving, so I'm like, is this really happening? Like, for me, I'm real humble, so I'm, even if I'm not drafted, just the opportunity to even be in the NFL was just that more exciting. So I'm just pumped. I'm y'all jittery driving and stuff like that. So I'm just pumped. So after the draft, I'm just like, if this is the team that showed and communicated interest while early in the draft, you know, I personally think they had high expectations for me, and that was one of the main reasons why I picked Green Bay.
That's so interesting. And I mean, that's a great glimpse into kind of the how it works, right? How the
Mhm.
sausage is made, so to speak. So how are you able to maintain composure? Were you with your grandma? Was your grandma freaking out? Like,
No,
what's that feeling like when the Packers call?
I was by myself. I
Okay.
was by myself. I was by myself. So I was like, wow. You ain't supposed to text and drive. I'm sitting here texting and trying to call everybody. I'm like, hey, they just called, but I said, I treated like I got drafted, even though I didn't. I treated it like that because whether you get drafted or signed free, like when you get to like one of the first things they told us at mini camp and rookie mini camp and OTAs and meetings, they constantly said it doesn't matter how you got here, you're in the room. So whether you're a first round pick or an undrafted free agent, you are all here for a reason. And if you wasn't good enough to be here, then you wouldn't be here. So, that's motivation to me and other free agents out here across the world. But it was definitely I was messed up, man. I was in a good way, like excited, nervous, all just a whole lot of emotions running through my mind.
Yeah, so thinking coming from Florida, you go to Florida Atlantic. Do you even know where Green Bay is on the map? First of all, and then what's it like when you step foot in Lambeau Field for the first time?
I knew where it was. I knew where Green Bay because I watch football, so I'm real assertive when it comes to knowing where I'm going on where things are. But for one of the first things, people tell me, "Oh, you're gonna be cold. You're gonna be cold. It's cold." Blah 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 blah. I'm like, yeah. I mean, that doesn't really bother me for two reasons. One, because I'm doing something I love to do, and for two, I used to live in Chicago, so that's maybe three hours from Green Bay. So I'm used to really cold weather and stuff like that. So I mean, the weather is not something that I think it will bother me too much, but it's definitely a transition though from being in Florida, like you said, Florida Atlantic. You going from palm trees to beaches and 85-degree weather and up and to mid 50s, 60s and below. So it's definitely a transition, but like I said, it's once in a lifetime opportunity.
I love it. Again, folks, with us, Green Bay Packers linebacker Caliph Brice. Can you walk us through your
Hello?
path to the NFL? Because you've had, I think, a really
Hello?
cool,
Can you guys hear me?
interesting path, and I'd love to just kind of, for our audience, hear a little bit about it. You didn't necessarily take the traditional route right away, went to this powerhouse community college. And please, would you mind just sharing kind of how you got to Green Bay right now?
Yes, no problem. Out of high school, I had a couple offers from like small D1 schools. Uh, my grades really set me behind in ninth grade. My ninth grade year really set me behind because I didn't understand that it all adds up when you graduate. So even though my sophomore through senior year of high school, I had A's and B's, my ninth grade year still messed me up, and I wasn't eligible to go to the schools that wanted to recruit me. But I had plenty of powerhouse, Power Five, Division I schools trying to get me out of high school, but I couldn't meet the requirements academically, so I had to choose another route. So that's where I ended up going to Hutch out of high school. That's JUCO came into play. They offered me in high school. Went there. I was comfortable going there because I seen one of my uh, former, I'm not gonna say teammate, but the one of the alumni from my high school went there. Cordell Patterson. He also went to Hutch, and we went to the same high school. So watching him, and I remember watching him, going to the games and watching him play. I'm like, if he can do it, I can do it. And especially coming from the same city and everything like that. So I seen that he went to Hutch and was able to, get a good education and to transfer his playing style and playing ability to a D1 school. So I'm like, I can do the same thing. So that's what I did. I got to Hutch. I played some games as a freshman. I never redshirted. I never like took a year off to redshirt or anything like that. I played a couple games as a freshman. Then I stayed there an extra year to get more film and to really build build uh build my reputation on the field and stuff. and I started getting offers from a lot of Conference USA schools, FAU being one of them, Southern Miss, Old Dominion, UTEP, uh, Tennessee Chattanooga, and stuff like that. Other like Power Five schools. I mean, I ain't gonna say Power. Well, yeah, Power Five schools. They recruited me, but they never really pulled the offer trigger out of coming out of JUCO. So I had 2 visits set up when I was in JUCO. I had a FAU visit set up, and I had a Old Dominion visit set up. I took the FAU visit first, and I knew that's where I wanted to be as soon as I took the visit. I came down, me and my mom and my uncle came down, and it was like, I'm like, wow, Boca Raton is, if you've never been to Boca Raton, I highly suggest it. It's beautiful, all the beaches, the atmosphere, the school, the facility. Uh, and at the time, Lane Kiffin was the coach. I'm like, Lane Kiffin is one of the best, college coaches to ever coach. So I'm like, that's and he coached with Saban. Anybody that coached with Saban, that's quite a accomplishment. So I'm like, I feel like this the right place for me. So long story short, I never took that other visit. I didn't commit on spot, but I knew in my mind I wanted to be a FAU Owl. So I played at FAU, came to FAU in 2019, and I played one game. No, I played maybe 2 or 3 games. I started one game. My first my first college start. My first college start at FAU. It was against Marshall. I forgot the situation. I think one of the starters had got hurt or something like that. But I started. That was my first time starting, and I had 11 tackles and a sack. My first
That's
my first
insane.
college start ever. So I had 11 tackles and a sack, and I had defensive player of the game, but it wasn't recognized as much. It wasn't recognized as much because we lost the game. We lost the game, so it wasn't recognized as much. But I think that's when everybody turned their heads, and I got a lot of respect like throughout the team and everything after that game. And then the next year, I um I played the whole season, started, and the crazy thing is, I've had a different defensive coordinator every year I've been at FAU. So I've been in
Wow.
multiple systems, different under different coaching styles. Of course, Lane left, and we was all over the place. But I just kept my head down and continued to work. And uh, that's when COVID came. So we was limited in playing games. So I started the COVID year, but we played maybe like 4 or 5 games out of the year. So that year was a disaster. And then we get to the next year, they said they would give everybody an extra year of eligibility because of COVID. So I came back another year for an extra season, and my season was going good. I was doing well. I was doing well. Then we got to the Charlotte game, and I consider Charlotte, North Carolina, my home as well because I'm so close to it. I'm only like 25 minutes away from Charlotte, being from Rock Hill, South Carolina. So that's technically home for me. I can blink 5 times and be in Charlotte. So I consider Charlotte my home too. So when we went to Charlotte to play, of course I had probably like maybe 20 family members there, 18 to 20, maybe. No, not I'm exaggerating, not that many. Maybe like I would say maybe 12, maybe a good 12,
You had enough to
maybe a good
play on
12.
one side of the ball, is what it
But
sounds
I
like,
felt
right?
home, and for whatever reason, I everything.
Oh, did we lose Caleb?
Looks like we may have frozen up a little bit here. So we'll give Caleb a minute. Hopefully he's able to rejoin. Um, Dane, it's just fascinating just thinking about the path that Caleb's taking to the league. I think so many people assume that there's a linear path for
Right.
these guys to make it. And he's here now. And certainly one of the things that'll be interesting to find out if we can get him back on here is how that level of adversity might contribute to his ability to continue that competition and that fight. So Caleb, looks like we lost you there for a moment. We'll have you back on. I was just observing, it's so interesting, the adversity that you have had to face to get into the league, and you're there now. But as you said at the top, everybody that's in that locker room is there for a reason, right? So it doesn't get any easier. So just wanted to follow up and ask you, as you look around at rookie orientation and the OTAs, mini camp, what do you feel like your path is, and what's your comfort level with being able to go out there and compete? Because you're obviously trying to win a job. There's 53 spots on the main roster, and there's 90 guys competing. So, what does that adversity that you've already had to deal with to overcome to get to where you are? How does that help to contribute as you move forward as well?
I don't know if you guys. I'm gonna answer that in a minute. I don't know if the connection went bad, so I'm not sure if you heard the last bit of what I was saying or not. I
You broke
didn't.
up there right at the end there, Caleb. We lost you for about 30 seconds to a minute, I would say.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get to that question. I wanted to
Yeah.
finish what I was saying real quick,
Yeah.
but it's
Sure.
it's kind of yeah, it's gonna lead into the answer to the next question anyway. But
Sure.
the showed out that game in Charlotte, and then the next game I had broke my arm versus UTEP. We played UTEP, and I broke my arm. I broke my radius, and I was out pretty much the rest of the season, pretty much. And I worked my tail off just to get back to be able to play the last game of the season versus Middle Tennessee. I came back earlier than what I was supposed to, and played with a cast, a big cast on my arm, and played that game. So I did pro day, I smashed pro day, and I think that really opened up a lot of eyes. And then draft day speaks for itself. So to answer your question about adversity, I've been facing adversity all my life. Been overlooked all my life. Uh, um, I just been the underdog. I'm used to being the underdog. I'm used to not having the hype or the recognition. I'm so when it's to the point of when I do see recognition or when I do get recognition, it surprises me. I'm not used to that. I'm used to just working hard behind the scenes and shining later on. So getting the opportunity to come in the NFL and to come to Green Bay was like, wow, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity, and I have a great chance of doing something special for myself. And I getting here, one of the things that I told myself was just to be realistic with myself when I got here. I know I'm not uh a first round pick or a drafted guy, so I'm already at a disadvantage as a free agent. But it's a lot of stories. There's plenty of stories of players who've been free agents, who've been Hall of Famers, who's been all pros, who's been so it's not is like I said earlier, it doesn't matter how you get there, is you're there now, is what you do when you do get there. But I know for me specifically, I walked in knowing, they drafted Quay Walker, of course, uh, knowing they drafted the first round linebacker, and I walked in and having they drafted not drafted, they signed another free agent, Ellis Brooks, another free agent linebacker, and myself. So and including knowing I'm the type of person I do my research on who's already there. So I know Ty, Ray, Wilborn, Dre, of course, Chris, and Isaiah. So I'm already knowing who's there and who's what at what positions, and after talking to the coach where I'm gonna play, and just the biggest thing for me was accepting that I would not like accepting the difference and knowing how to start over, knowing from going to college to being that dude, being the superstar, being that guy to everybody, you get practice getting all the reps to now you in the NFL, you got to earn your stripes again. You got to earn your respect again. Not so much respect as a human being or as a man, but respect on the field. because at the end of the day, people have families. It's a business. I understand that. That was the biggest thing that I had to understand, that everything is a business from top to bottom, from bottom to top. So I had to realize that I won't be getting as many reps as Quay gets. You know what I'm saying? I won't be getting as much attention as Quay gets realistically. Because they invested more. Honestly, let's just keep it real. They invested more money in the guy than the other guy. So it's just understanding the business part of it. But one of the things I noticed when I first got there is, for one, everybody that I've met on Green Bay's roster that was a veteran were all humble. You go to some teams where you have veterans, they act like they're too good to speak or too good to help you. But Aaron Jones, Dre, Chris, uh, let's see who else, Randall Cobb, like everybody, like they just humble. Hey, what's up, man? I'm such and such. If you need help, ask. Just real cool and humble. So that made me feel comfortable to know, like, they don't mind helping. They've been there before. They don't mind, reaching out. It felt like family. Like I've been there for 5 years already. And sorry, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, everybody was just willing to help with open arms, basically. And for me, being like in special rookie mini camp, I'm like, realizing that everybody's just like you. Everybody I can, like, I realize I can hang. I really realized I can hang in OTAs when some of the vets, would slowly start to come back, and everybody would start to, come together. And I'm in doing drills with Aaron Jones. I'm doing drills with AJ Dillon. I'm doing drills with Dre and Chris, and competing and doing stuff like that. So I'm like, I can hang. It's just a matter of, when you do get the opportunity to get reps, what are you going to do with it? And also, not saying it'd be easy, because rookies, everybody will tell you rookie is the hardest year. You got to learn the system, study the playbook, and then, just so everything is precious. Time, reps, everything is just precious. So you got to capitalize on your opportunity. But I do personally realize that I know I'm able physically. I can play in the NFL at a high level. I know I can make the team, but I tell myself, everybody is not going to make the team off offense or defense. You got to know your role, and whatever my role is, whatever they want me to do, I will do it. And right now, I'm focusing on special teams and making the 53 off special teams.
And that's and it's so funny you mentioned that, because that's what I was about to ask you, and I want to be mindful of your time, but
You good?
I feel like, I don't know if you followed much of the Packers last year, but there's a lot of struggles on special teams. Great football team, but just had some holes in special teams. And I think that this Packers team very clearly is looking to double down and improve in that group. And I think they're looking for guys from the outsider's perspective to make an impact and stick on this roster, partly through their special teams play. And I'm wondering, do you have experience? Did they have you lining up in special teams during some of the OTAs, or what's your experience been so far in Green Bay with special teams?
I've pretty much been on every special team. I'm on punt, kickoff return, punt return. Only thing I'm not on is field goal block, but that's technically defense. So as I get more defensive reps, that's self-explanatory. But I'm pretty much on all four. Rotating in with guys on the depth chart and things like that, and just trying to get noticed, just trying to show off my athleticism, because at the end of the day, special teams comes down to technique and effort and athleticism. You don't have to be the best player on the team to play special team. You know what I'm saying? So one thing I'm excited for in particular is kickoff. I love kickoff. I did kickoff in college. I feel like that's my specialty because of my size and my speed. I honestly feel like I can't be blocked when I'm running down on kickoff. So that's something I'm looking forward to in minicamp.
For sure. And I mean, you got 4.5
training
40
camp.
speed. Yeah, 4.5 40 speed.
Crazy.
Big guys. So we're looking forward to seeing you run down the field like a wrecking ball and light some guys up for sure. So, Caleb, before we let you go, just since we're using this opportunity to introduce you to Packer Nation, I think we've
Yeah.
got a really good feel now for who you are as a football player and your path to the NFL. We're really looking forward to seeing you out there in preseason and camp and practice and in some preseason games. But what are some of your interests outside of football, away from the field, and what's a little bit more about Caliph Brice person that you can tell Packer fans out there as well?
Well, I am a musician. I'm a drummer. I do play the drums. So, uh,
I didn't know that.
yes, I've been playing drums since I was born, pretty much. I used to, like as a baby, I used to play with. I used to get in trouble because I'd be in the kitchen getting pots, beating on pots, and getting forks and spoons, and just beating on stuff. So I enjoy playing the drums, and I'm also a pretty good cook. I like to cook. Um, I always told myself it was either football or being a cook. It was either I was going to go to culinary school or football. I chose football. So it, long down the line, if I become a chef, you know why. So that's something that's probably my second passion is cooking. Um, Other than that, I'm just a simple human being. I love family. I love being around people who love me. I love to laugh. I love to joke. Uh, uh, I'm a lover of God, and I'm just a cool person to be around.
I love this. Oh man, you're easy to root for. We're really going to enjoy this. And I got to ask you, I mean, first of all, I love that you either hit guys with the ball or you're hitting the drums. You know, one way or another, Caliph Brice is hitting
Yeah,
somebody
I'm
or
I'm hitting
something.
something. Got to. I gotta hit something.
Who's your favorite drummer, or who did you look up to as a a younger person that kind of got you rolling into that?
Uh, Honestly, I really watch every because I grew up in a church, so I used to play drums at church, and that's
Yeah.
how But I used to YouTube guys like Tony Royster, Calvin Rogers, pretty much gospel drummers for real. Not I do know Sheila E. I do watch her sometimes.
Yeah.
Sheila E. and Michael Jackson's drummers, Sugarfoot. I think his name is Sugarfoot.
Okay. I don't know that
Yeah,
one.
Michael Jack. Look up Michael Jackson's drummer. His name is Sugarfoot. He played drums for Michael Jackson. He's pretty good too. But uh, but yeah, that's pretty much it though.
Well, Caliph, I tell you what, we might have to stop by. You might have to stop by tailgate after practice at training camp and maybe cook us up something, play
Yeah.
some drums
Open invite.
live. You know, we got a whole setup here. I think that we can do as a follow up to this. But
Hey,
yeah,
if
that's
find me a drum set and call me. I'm on the way. I'm
I
coming.
love this. Yeah.
I'm coming.
we might have to take you up on that for
Yeah.
sure.
I'm
So
serious. I am
um,
serious.
awesome. Before we let you go, we always ask everyone before you sign off, can you give us a go pack go?
Yes, I can. This is Caliph Brice, and I'm looking forward to training camp. And go pack, go.
Go Pack Go. Thank
Yes,
you,
sir.
folks. Caliph
Thanks.
Brice, Green Bay Packers linebacker. Really enjoyed having you on. Number 42. We are
Thank
so
y'all.
excited for you in camp. Let's go.
Thank you. Looking forward to it.
Thanks, Caliph. Have a great night. Yep.
All right, you too.
Thank you.
Yep. Take care. All right. So that was Caliph Brice. Dane, I think we've got to head to one more break. Talk about our other sponsor this evening, DraftKings Sportsbook. Of course, DraftKings, official sports betting partner in the NFL. It is the off season right now, so they do have a great offer going on right now. New customers get a risk-free bet of up to $1,000 using our promo code TPPN. So, Dane, I know Packer fans in Wisconsin might be looking at the Brewers this time of year. You got anything else queued up that you'd like to take that $1,000 and bet on at this point while we wait for football season?
I mean, I think that the Brewers are a good bet right now. You know, overall, I think that they're going to come out on top. I mean, I'll be honest, Wags. Baseball, out of all the sports, is the least likely one that you're going to see me knowing much about. But I'll tell you what, we've been watching them. They've been slowly making their way. The games have slowly been making their way on in the Brice household, and a lot of that's because of DraftKings. Again, use promo code TPPN, $1,000, folks. Where are you going to get money like that? $1,000. Listen to our good friends at DraftKings Sportsbook. And again, use promo code TPPN. And I'm not going to give you advice on how to use the money, but the Brewers are a pretty good bet this time of year.
For sure. So minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. So, Dane, that's awesome that we were just able to talk to Caleb. And I think he's another one of those guys with, you look at anytime the Packers bring in an undrafted free agent, that it's purposeful. And I think Caleb, clearly in talking to him, he fits from a characteristic standpoint and kind of the type of guy that they seem to target time and time again. And we've seen a number of guys that have been similar to him that have taken that opportunity and taken it all the way to 53-man roster and beyond. So it's going to be really fun to see Caleb in the preseason and in preseason games and see how he's able to take advantage of the opportunity for himself.
You're spot on. I mean, you look at kind of we've got a core top three at the inside linebacker position, right? Where with our first round pick, as he mentioned, Devondre Campbell, and I'd say Chris Barnes is a pretty good shot at making this team as well. He's been good for the Packers. But after that, our friend Ty Summers is in, and what I loved about Caleb is he named every single guy. He very clearly knew what was going on. He knew the roster in and out. He's obviously met all of them, but he knows them. Right. And I love his confidence. I love the fact that he said, listen, the game wasn't too fast, is basically what he said, paraphrasing, and that he thinks that he can hang. He's going to have a chance to win a roster spot. The Packers historically at inside linebacker lately have carried 5 inside linebackers. If they carry 5 again, he's in a dead heat. We're going to see what Ray Wilborn can do. Of course, Ty Summers has some institutional ties to the team. McDuffie was on the roster last year, but I would argue that, there's a battle for 2 spots right now amongst about 5 inside linebackers. And I don't know if Caliph Brice shows out in training camp the way we think he can, I think he makes this football team. And that's exciting to think about.
Yeah, and he's very focused. He knows that special teams is definitely his path. You can see in that answer that that's where he's focusing his time and attention because, he needs to learn the defense too. That's goes without saying. But I think he clearly understands that he's going to get the most reps and opportunities on those special teams units, and that's going to be his opportunity to shine and separate himself. And so each opportunity he has as part of the special teams, and I don't know if he just kind of inherently knows that or felt that, or if he's gotten good advice from his, college coaches or from the Packers coaching staff to say, hey, this is your path. So make the most of those reps and opportunities that you have. But I was just really impressed that he seems to have a really good understanding of what that path is to make the 53-man roster as well.
Hey, Wags, a fun little factoid that didn't come up in our interview with him. You know who else on the Green Bay Packers roster went to the same junior college as him? He was actually teammates in junior college with Devontae Wyatt, Packers first-round pick at defensive tackle, and came before him, but Devondre Campbell, a fellow inside linebacker, also went to the same junior college before Caliph Brice went there. So some really interesting and strong company coming out of Hutch, which is just an absolute powerhouse JUCO college. But I mean, they produce NFL talent, and we're about to see if Caleb can make the roster. But I like his chances. I loved his attitude. I'm excited. He's very easy to root for.
For sure. So, Dane, I don't know if you have any other news and notes regarding the Packers or anything else that you wanted to touch on. Kind of a quieter time of year, so it's been a great opportunity to bring some guys on and get to talk to them ahead of training camp.
Yeah, I mean, it was nice to see them announce the training camp dates. Wags, you and I'll have to talk offline on when we're going to be going to training camp this year, but that's a side discussion. But it'll be a lot of fun to see these guys back in Green Bay and put the pads on.
For sure. So I think that is going to do it then for us tonight. Thanks so much for all of you that jumped on the live stream, and for those of you that are listening to the audio, we appreciate you following along as well. As always, be legendary and go Pack, go.
Go.
Every year I know we gonna go hard. We been that team ever since Bart started. All my cheese heads go Pack go. Ain't showing no mercy, cutting no slack, no. I ain't a bad sport and no